Napa Valley is located approximately 70 miles north of San Francisco between Sonoma Valley and the Central Valley. Just over 140,000 people call the valley their home, living in 10 cities and a handful of smaller towns dispersed throughout the 750 square mile county. The valley was originally inhabited by the Patwin Indian tribe, and the name of the area can also be tracked to these indigenous people. The word Napa may have come from the Indian word Napo, meaning house, or the Patwin Indian word Napa, meaning grizzly bear. You can't really talk about Napa Valley without mentioning the world-famous wine it produces. And, unsurprisingly, the valley has a rich history in viticulture. The rolling hills of Napa Valley were definitely dotted with wild grapes before settlers arrived, but George Calvert Yount is credited with being the first to plant grapes for the production of wine in Napa Valley in 1839. Then a few years later, in 1861, Charles Krug is credited with being the first to establish a commercial winery in the area. And later on, in the year 1889, Napa Valley was home to over 140 wineries. So, if we fast forward to today, Napa Valley is home to over 500 wineries, each housing a tasting room. Inevitably, this beautiful, fair-weathered area covered in establishments dedicated to selling high-quality alcohol is an extremely popular tourist destination. And in the past year, Napa Valley saw 3.5 million tourists, generating over $1 billion. And wineries are not the only beneficiaries of the booming tourist industry in the valley, as Napa County hotels brought in $408 million last year alone. So, the media would have you believe that Napa Valley is a beautiful wine country, perfect for a weekend getaway of hopping from winery to winery, which it is, but the wineries have also caused problems and controversy in the valley. One major problem that these establishments create is the degradation of environmental areas meant for wildlife, because as people build new wineries and existing wineries expand, they often do so at the expense of the natural areas of Napa Valley. As it is now, Napa County's 500,000 acres of land contain about 45,000 acres of vineyards, with about 500 new acres being converted to growing grapes each year, and an estimated 10,000 more acres to be developed by 2030. All this development comes at the expense of Napa Valley's oak woodlands and animal species. One species that has been especially adversely affected is the steelhead trout. Steelhead trout in Napa County are becoming endangered due to the reduction of stream flows caused by the irrigation of vineyards. In a 2000 report of the Napa River chapter, scientists explains extensive water diversions, groundwater pumping, and increased agriculture water use during the dry season have reduced the extent of suitable summer rearing habitat throughout much of the Napa River watershed. While most new vineyards are small, large projects also still exist. One such project is being undertaken by a Texas couple that plans to destroy 14,000 oak trees on over 200 acres of land in order to clear the hill for vineyards. Projects like these, however, are met with strong adversity. The Sierra Club, along with the Center for Biological Diversity, has filed a lawsuit against this project on the grounds that the huge vineyard project would deplete groundwater reserves, reduce local stream flows, pollute reservoirs with pesticides, and fragment wildlife habitat. Another very important piece are the politics behind the issue, more specifically Measure C. Measure C was a ballot measure that, if passed, would have long-lasting implications on where new vineyards can be constructed. The measure was proposed by environmentalists and endorsed by interests such as the Sierra Club and the Center for Biological Diversity. The measure aimed to protect Napa County's oak trees and watershed. It would create a limit of 795 acres that could be cut down in order to pave way for vineyards in land zoned as agriculture watershed. It would also create buffer zones around streams and wetlands in which trees could not be cut down. Proponents of the measure claim that this would protect Napa Valley's oak trees and watershed and also reduce traffic. Opponents of the bill include the Napa Valley grape growers, Napa Valley vintners, and wine growers of Napa Valley. Do you see any similarities here? Yeah, they all consist of people with a stake in the wine industry. It's no wonder they oppose a measure that they claim would limit the growth of the Napa County wine industry, cost to taxpayers, and lead to the development of luxury homes in agriculturally zoned areas. Voting for Measure C actually ended on June 5th of this year, and as it is now, the votes are too close to declare a winner, and the final results will come later this week. If it passes, Measure C will be a step in the right direction towards preserving Napa Valley's 167,000 acres of oak woodlands and future water supply.